Week 10 of the vlog. The law and the kingdom of God. So my question, did you die in Leviticus like Chris has famously said over the last few weeks? I was talking with a couple other friends and they confirmed exactly what Chris is saying. For any of us who have been around the faith long enough, we've tried to read the Bible. We get through Genesis. We do okay in Exodus, but then Leviticus and Numbers gets tough. So I hope you were able to get into the YouVersion app and listen to the passages numerous times like I've been suggesting. And when I did that, I saw some major themes. And the things I want to talk about today, the big things that stuck out to me are two things. One, there's a Sabbath, and he talks about a Sabbath numerous times. But first, the big thing that I noticed this week was idols. And I read the passages, I listened to the passages numerous times so that I could really absorb the narrative. And when you absorb the narrative, the theme that comes out is God's people sin. And sin is impossible. Well, sin is very hard for God to deal with. God can't deal with sinful people. And so he comes up with all these rules and regulations and rituals of ways that his people can get back into a right relationship with God. Now, if you know the entire Christian narrative, you know that you can contrast that with the New Testament and know that when Jesus comes on the scene, all these rituals are gone. We don't need those anymore. We can simply accept him, and just being in Jesus's presence is enough to take care of our sin. But right now we're still going through Leviticus, and we're reading about these offerings that they need to bring to God. We're reading about animals being sacrificed, first fruits all being given to the Lord so that we can be in right relationship with God. The pinnacle verse for me this week was Exodus 34, verse 14, that says, "Do not worship any other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." God's name is jealous. And I remember it took a long time for me to really understand, because we all know jealousy is a bad thing. How can God be a jealous God? And I don't know if it's right to think this way, but a lot of times I think, if I were God, what would that be like? So if I were God and I created all these things and I created all these people, I would certainly want them to go out and have fun, be humans, be with each other, be in relationship, do these things that are inherently human, have fun, but don't forget about me. Follow my rules. Remember who created you. Don't go away from me. And if you go away from me, certainly do not put something above me. And that's where the idols come in. And for me, very quickly, when I think, do not put idols before me, if I really think about that, I can come up with numerous things that I know that I put before God. Now, we can't worship God 24/7. That's not what I'm suggesting. And this topic is difficult because very quickly we can come we can come off as like a religious zealot or somebody who tries to do the Bible thing 24/7. I'm not suggesting that. But we can all look at our days, we can look at our weeks and say, what am I putting before God? Am I starting my day with God? Am I thinking of God at all throughout my day? Am I ending the day with God? I don't do all three of those things. I do most of my devotionals in the morning. I struggle during the day. I've tried to get into a book called The Daily Office that suggests that you spend time with God twice a day. I haven't been doing so well at that. But I do my devotionals well in the morning. So I'm building. I'm working on it. Later on in Exodus 34:17, it says, "Do not make any idols." It's very easy for me to think of the idols that I have in my world. And what are the idols in your world? God's a jealous God, and if he created us, imagine what it would be like to create a people who put gold before him. Imagine a people who take their gold and they make a statue and they worship that statue. Now, again, like Chris has been saying and the teaching team has been saying, that's foreign to us. We don't do anything like that, but we do put things before God. I have mine, and I put those down in my journal, and I thought, what's the next step? How do I grow in my faith here in 2017 when I think about idols? And the number one thing I thought about was to go public with it. Now, when I say public, I don't mean go on a video like this or share it on any social media. I'm not suggesting that, but go public in that, do you have one person in your life, at least one, who knows what you struggle with, who knows the sin that can sometimes entangle you? What do you put before God that comes to my mind, that comes to your mind when I say, do not put any idols before me? And then do you have a person that you can take that to? Do you have one person in your life that knows about that can be asking you about it, that can be praying for you? Because in my experience, the number one problem for me has been when I've kept those things to myself. We're not meant to be alone. We're meant to be in community and in relationships with people. That person may change from year to year. That person may change many times. But I feel like at all times you should have at least one or two people. And so I would ask you, one, what is your idol? Two, who knows about it? And who can lend their ear when you want to talk about those kind of things? So God's a jealous God. I think it helps us sometimes to think, if God was a jealous God, why would he be jealous? And therefore that might change the way that we act on a daily basis in light of how we want to continually be in relationship with God. Second thing that came up was the Sabbath. I've always been very interested in the Sabbath. Again, I'm not doing this vlog to show you that I'm doing things right. In fact, I'm going to be 2 for 2 here. I'm not doing the devotionals as well as I'd like to, and I'm also not doing a Sabbath the way I want to. But I saw Eugene Peterson give a podcast many years ago, and he said the number one benefit to his spiritual life has been to take a Sabbath on a regular basis. And a couple times in the passages this week, they talk about working for 6 days and then taking one Sabbath day off. And that's something that I really want to pursue next in my spiritual life. That's going to be difficult. I have a busy job. My wife has a busy job. We have 3 kids. We're busy all the time. But what would it mean to put at least one day aside? And maybe it's not a whole day. Maybe it's just a half day. But figure out a way to say, as a family of 5, we're going to put this Sabbath aside and give it completely to the Lord. So those are some of the things that I got this week. I hope you were able to read the passages numerous times and understand the narrative of how sinful God's people are and how difficult it was, or the hoops that they had to jump through, the rituals and the rules to get back in relationship with God. And then again, with the whole Jesus Bible narrative, knowing with Jesus, that's all changed, but it helps us to understand what the people had to do back when Leviticus was written, and how good we have it now. So 10 weeks into the vlog, this has been a lot of fun for me. If you have any questions for me, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Are you doing Love This Book? Are you just doing the videos here with me? Are you reading one day a week? I hope you're growing in your spiritual walk here in 2017. I hope Love This Book is helping. I'd love to hear from you. Wherever you're at in your spiritual journey, I hope that you keep the pursuit, and let me know if there's anything I can do for you. We'll see you soon.